got to remember how to do this thing. So, yeah, I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be back behind the mic. I'm excited to be back in front of the camera. I'm excited to be talking about football. And yes, we're going to break down all of the different things with football. And I know I've been gone for quite a while, and I know that a lot of things have happened. And we'll get to those. But first, I just want to sit back and just enjoy where we're sitting right now. Do you realize what we've got going on here? Us as fans, this is the perfect scenario. This is what we've been wanting. If you sit down and look at it, we literally have two behemoths that are fighting for our attention and for us to pretty much buy their product. It's fantastic. I love it, and it's only going to get better. We just started the football wars, and it doesn't even include the NFL. This is going to be fun to see how it plays out, what happens. Where does it all go from here? I really don't know, but I'm along for the ride, and I hope that you are as well. And speaking along for the ride, I do appreciate everyone that stuck around, everyone that's still been waiting on me to bring back content with it. It was nice to take a break and not really worry about the stuff, and it was just nice to be a fan again through the USFL season and get to watch those guys and the success that they had. And it's been really neat to see all of the XFL stuff that's been coming out as well. And to mention on the side, the MLFB, they're actually taking shape. They had their jamboree on Sunday. You know, it's rough, but we knew that that's what you were going to get with that product. But man, I am excited about where we are with this. I keep calling it, football wars, but that's really what it is. You've got, on one hand, you've got Fox, the juggernaut that is Fox, and they have the USFL. And then on the other hand, you have the juggernaut, which is Disney and everything that encompasses them with ABC and ESPN and the XFL. And these two are getting ready to they're fighting each other already as it is right now, jockeying for position to really fulfill that spring league type of space. And everybody, if you ask me, everybody's going to win in this. I think that there's plenty enough space for both leagues, especially since they're going to be a little bit staggered from one another. And we'll get into the whole salary thing in a later video, my thoughts on that, my thoughts on the whole thing with the teams and the locations of where they're going to be at for the XFL. I have some interesting takes and some observations that I made with that I'll be posting in a video up here soon. But I just want to take a moment and put all of this things aside of whether you're a USFL person, a Fox person, whether you are a Disney diehard or you love the XFL or you are a rock fan, whatever it is, we are getting more and more football. We now have 16 teams that are going to be in these spring leagues. And then if you add on the 4 other teams with the MLFB, we've got 20 more teams now that have been added to the mix and 20 more opportunities for guys to get on a team and play ball, which is huge. So if you ask me, with this whole situation, the winners here are first and foremost the fans, and the second are the players. And it's going to come with it as more and more people start to watch, as the product gets better because guys are getting more and more time here, as these leagues become established. I think that the sky's really the limit with what they can do. Now, do I think that they'll essentially become the NFL? I have no clue. That's not happening in the next 5 to 10 years. We'll see where things transpire with it. But this thing definitely has legs, and I think that it's running and going places with it. Where is it going? It's going in a very, very good direction. Whereas before, we've seen things kind of limping along. And, you can kind of say that for some of what from what the USFL was. Not all of the games were great. Not all of the play was great. There was some pretty bad quarterback play. But all in all, I would say that it was decent football, and it was pretty easy to watch. There were some games, don't get me wrong. But if you remember, back to 2020 XFL, there were some games there too. I think sometimes when we look at things in hindsight, sometimes we only choose to look at what we want to look at. And there is a lot of hype behind both of these leagues. And I think the competition between both of them is really where things are going to shine. They're going to be both jockeying for position for your and my viewership. That's the crazy thing here is, they're both fighting for this space. And me personally, I think that they both can live in it. And I know a lot of you out there are just like me, to where it doesn't matter. You're going to be consuming both of them. And in my life, there's plenty enough space for both of them. I mean, if you think about it, it's only 16 teams. And so on those few weeks where they're going to overlap in those two leagues, it's only 8 games. It's not really, when you look at the scheme of things, it's really not a whole lot to where you're going to be able to consume a lot of it. I mean, I'm a guy who on Saturdays can sit there and watch college football from pretty much sun up to sundown and past that. So I have no problem with being able to watch 8 games in a weekend, especially if they're going to be doing games on Fridays and things like that. I mean, I think you're going to see that expand. And for the players, this is great. For them fighting over the same players, and it's just going to make those players worth more. And those players are going to start to make more money. And it's going to be worth it more to them to go into these leagues. And they're going to be getting meaningful snaps. They're not going to be sitting on these practice squads. And the reality of it is if a guy's been sitting on a practice squad, he's really making $115,000 a year. And now I know that they've talked about, and we'll get into some of the nitty gritty with it right now. The USFL, it was about 40,000, and the XFL is going to be about 55-ish, somewhere around there. Now, the higher end of things in the 2020 season, if you remember, the media was getting all over the XFL because the things that they were saying, it wasn't actually really coming true. I don't know if that's going to be the case here in this situation, but if you look at that, it doesn't matter because they're both going to be gunning for the same players, trying to get the same guys, which is going to drive the price tag up for those guys to where I wouldn't be surprised, especially if these products continue to be lucrative to both of these brands. I wouldn't be surprised if that average guy is here in 2-3 years making anywhere between $80,000 to $100,000 a year because of the money that these brands are making off of it. Like I've said before, I am excited by what I'm seeing here. And the USFL, what they had an opportunity where they had no competition this year. So they could really kind of set the bar low, so to say, with the pay. And the XFL, they know what's out there, so they're going to set themselves a little bit higher. We'll see what the USFL comes back with for year 2, especially, I'm just excited to see how they're going to continue on with these teams, how they're going to do that with it. It's really going to be an interesting thing for me. They've talked about going into markets and having possibly, some hub city areas and things like that, and it could end up being that both of them for 2023, whether it be the XFL or the USFL. The USFL has been a little bit more guarded about what they're going to do. I don't really think they have figured out exactly where they're going to be playing games, what cities they're going to be in, and that with it. Whereas the XFL, it's pretty much, hey, we're going to be practicing in hubs, and then we're going to be flying out, going out to these markets, and we're going to be having the games played in these markets, which I think is a fantastic way to do it. It's a way to save money. It's, a way. It makes sense to have it done that way. And I wouldn't be surprised if, because of the pressure that would be coming with the XFL and the XFL being in the markets, I would imagine to see probably something with the USFL fairly similar with that, to where I would say that Fox is probably this year has held back on the money because they're gearing up for the war for our viewership. At that moment between the XFL and them, to where they were holding some of those funds back to when they really needed them for this year, this first year where they're going to be competing for viewership. So I think that that's great, and I think that you will, like I said, we kind of already knew what the XFL is going to do, and the USFL, they're coming back, but they've kind of left things open to where I think that you're going to probably see things fairly competitive between the two of them coming 2023 season. So I am super excited about this. I hope that you are excited about it. I'm really curious to kind of see how players react to this and see where these players come. So right now, everybody's trying to get on those NFL rosters. But once those NFL rosters have been kind of solidified, and we've got those guys that, that number 54, that 54th guy, that the XFL, when you watched that town hall, whatever they're calling it, they toted that. They said it about 1 million times, player number 54. For those guys, it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to go, which league they're going to move into. And it's going to be interesting to see what league attracts what. Is one going to be more established players, guys that have been around for a while? Is one going to be more younger players, attract the younger player? It's really going to see how all of that stuff is the stuff that's kind of excites me, and to see how it all, works its way out. And like I said before, I really feel like this past year, the USFL has been holding a little bit back because they knew that they were going to be able to capture the eyes of football fans when nobody else was, to where they didn't really have to put as much out there. Whereas they were ramping up for competition in 2023. And, the other thing that really kind of just, I was kind of just shocked about at first, but now it makes total sense. And it, plays on to this whole war thing, is, you're watching, ESPN has absolutely nothing whatsoever on the USFL. And a lot of the stuff that they put out there, articles and things, had kind of like a negative spin on it. And now you know why. We knew why months ago when, they came out and said that, they were in a partnership with the XFL. So it'll be really interesting to see how, this sports media covers both of these. It's almost like there's this invisible line that nobody can cross, and that nobody's going to talk about the other. And it's just like, us as fans are going to know that both of them exist. But if you're in either world, like, it's all, you pretend like the other one doesn't exist. So it'll be fun to see how, that all transpires, and how things work out with that, especially, with dealing with the type of media that we have and the interaction that we have in today's day. So I'm kind of pleasantly surprised. I'm pleased about it. Excited to continue on with, with football, and continue on with more football being played throughout the year, and more to talk about, more to just enjoy. So, when you think about this, to kind of wrap everything all up and draw everything to a conclusion, this is what we've wanted the whole time. Us as fans, this kind of alternative football community, this is what we've wanted, and we're getting what we want. Think about that. We're getting 16, if you want to add in the MLFB, 20 alternative football teams that we can root for, that we can cheer on those number 54 guys that got cut from the team, get to see those guys play more downs, get to see more and more of that. And in my book, I think that at the end of the day, like I said, the biggest winners are the fans and the players. That's how I see it. As always, I want to know what you think down in the comment section. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are down there. We'll continue the conversation on down there. All right, listen, guys, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.